in its plans, have preparedness and readiness to allocate resources for this likelihood of El Nino being declared in the country? That is my question to the Prime Minister. Thank you.
Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Me Amaslong member of Lalatau long ask him this question, and I want to appreciate firstly all our students who are in the public gallery. Thank you for coming by, and other visitors who are upstairs at the galleries. Mr. Speaker, we have received information that El Nino might happen. In fact, there have been prolonged dry seasons in some areas. I have asked the Finance Department to, in the first instance, to ensure that the financial instructions have enough flexibility to allow districts who want to, in the first instance, whilst awaiting help from the national government or the provincial government, if the districts who are out there in the front line can utilize, and if the DDAs want to utilize some resources to ensure we support our people, then the financial instructions should be able to allow for districts to be the front line, drawing from resources you already have as we disperse the district support grants to all of you, or the district infrastructure development grants, or the district services improvement plans. But national government will overlay support where there is a pronounced dry season, where our people is suffering. That's our duty and responsibility. We will be of care to our people, and wherever pronounced dry season is taking place, then we will overlay support into those areas. I want to give full assurance to our people right throughout the length and breadth of our country, whether it's dry season or any other disaster. National government will be on standby to assist wherever possible. But as I did indicate earlier, we will tailor the financial instruction in a way where districts will face extraordinary circumstances in your areas. You could deploy resources that is funneled to the district treasury at the very earliest, whilst national government come in to assist. Mr. Speaker, I think this answer is sufficient. Thank you, Member for Alata, for asking this question.
Honourable Member of Lamandi.
Mr. Speaker, question blami stable notice paper by me asking law internal security Minister Blayumi. Before me asking question, me look so long. All sumatin, now all teacher who said he stable on public gallery. Yesterday was a World Teachers Day, so a happy Teachers Day to those teachers who are working tirelessly throughout the country. My question to the Minister is in regard to guns, illegal guns. Up in the highlands, you will see that there is a lot of high-powered illegal guns in every villages, in every tribes, in many of the houses. So, and that is the cause of many of our law and order issues we are facing in this country. Manigat gun law house embatanin strong blaman na hit man na stop. Em can make him any something, em can make him any talk. Em can run in law time law elections na make him any something too. Now plenty old place he fire along highlands, especially like Mendi. Old man karem gun lo public place na kukim tan. I blow police, I blow army. Election finish, all go hide them gun. You mean not talk ngolo display all gun? Now here we are sitting discussing 5 years. Next election come, same problem back come up. Law report belong Internal Security Minister, me not looking one plus something law. Illegal firearms. Illegal firearms are brought in by prominent people, educated people, people with money, all businessmen, all can all display money, current plenty gun going set na bagaraw in place. Even parliamentarians are bringing guns. If we have guns, I don't have a gun, so that's why I'm talking. Although a Highlands man, I don't own any gun. But parliamentarians also own guns. Candidates own a lot of guns. So my question is simple.
Okay.
What is the department doing to get rid of these illegal guns? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Minister of Internal Security.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Namitok, thank you, Law. Good plus Kim. Belong honorable member, Belong Mendy. First, me acknowledging to all students, Belong stop. One time more teachers, Belong. I think a couple of days ago was World Teachers Day, so just want to acknowledge the teachers in the chambers. Mr. Speaker, this is one important question where it keeps being asked by many, and as our position as a police force going forward, long addressing this law, apart from taking note long the Single Rock report, what we are doing now, my honorable member and honorable members of the House, is that we've actually drafted up and completed our terrorism act that we would like to put forward and table it in Parliament. It will go before Cabinet, so that will give us teeth in regulating, start enforcing, put him this law, all those that are part of procurement of this legal firearms, gives the police force a bit more teeth, and that so that Terrorism Act is completed and it will be put through the process through Cabinet before it gets tabled in the floor of Parliament. And what it will basically do is that it will allow police force at any one time to have access to anyone that will deem that is self-threat and that is facilitating firearms at any one point, regardless of what your status is. And as you rightfully said, my honorable member, many of our firearms are being procured by citizens that have access to funds, whether it be in the private sector or the public sector. So this act, honorable member and honorable members of this House, the Terrorism Act, when it comes into action, I now just put everyone on notice that it is going to really hone down on those that have access to funds, because those who have access to funds are the only ones that can pay for such high-powered, expensive firearms. So hopefully, Mr. Speaker, I have answered the honourable member's question about how we're going to contain and we're going to manage this risk that we have in the country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable member belong Okapa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Lo give me the time. Me looks all the people block up. Mr. Speaker, me also like looks all the teachers. Only come sit down the chamber. Me to me background me teacher too na. Me almost look come sit down the chamber. Looks all the debate. Na Happy Independence Day, all teachers across the country. Mr. Speaker, question below me. I'm going to Works Minister na. I want to blow me yet. Me how much lo Works Minister na marapiroso government lo Connect PNG program. Connect PNG program is one program we work lo give him use of planning man inside the country and most of the hinterlands lo bush. So Connect PNG program and work lo connect him on the planetary connected by road only eximnes la belisi na lama mas through. So now can get access lo road lo car. Question below me lo road lo kanan tu igolo kapa na golo lufa na kamu semblunga bena dis la road and one big road in the Eastern Islands. Planning time me stop this la question being please have ask him the house me one blow all na got some to celebration this la question me lo kanan tu up till now some mina looking one bla walk lo come up or look savel lo dis la road. This la road and one very important road in the Eastern Islands, and we connect him 5 districts Inside of Fabula district, there are plenty of social infrastructure stuff. Now more than 1 million plus organic office are come out of this road. So me like ask him, Minister of Works, now highways, give him this undertaking. Now this house, no people below me, Fabula district Canarim. When I'm planning below this road, me almost 10 million have been given pennies. Working my upgrade this road, na road is in progress as I speak. But me like him, this road am a seal. This road am existing road, and I'm saving 300 plus population lo this side of Eastern Islands province. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Minister of Works.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Member Blow Kappa long ask him good luck question. Me want a team lo me play opinions lo Eastern Highlands lo Goroka. Na me play Siran want them governor, want all members belongen. Na only giving me play all road close to 4 or 5 roads, main roads lo Eastern Highlands. Na all these roads me play Karikam na me play put him now lo list lo budget lo 2024. Na this road important road where he got 4 or 5 districts. One road by Bungi Mogadas all districts. Na one economic corridor road. All coffee is sleepless plahap all plenty all economic activity established plahap. So this road remember you rightfully talk us important road. Na anani lo connect PNG yes important road na me play kisim one block long this block 4 block road start lo list block connect PNG na anani lo west me bla start lo lurug longan 10 million me plus start put finish lo start lo make him some work lo emergency na some lo maintenance rehabilitation me bla by start putting money lo next year na by you may work lo seal contractor by some money lo start lo seal in this road so tender ba come out na by me play give him contractor lo start work so this road yes important road na me start lo list lo connect PNG anani lo west. Thank you too.
Honourable Governor of West New Britain.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Me like ask him this question without notice, lo treasurer. Since Emino stopped me, ask him Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, in light of the notice currently issued by Puma regarding fuel rationing due to their claim as forex issues, but what are the steps being taken, Mr. Speaker, since last time we have formed a committee to negotiate with Puma and BPNG to resolve this issue? Mr. Speaker, this shortage of fuel will be affecting our airlines, our power, and many other energy sectors, so it is a national security issue. What are the steps the government is going to take to address this issue? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Question beli golong usat terus Honourable Governor. PM. Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Me, Amos lo kisim back and question belong member belong West New Britain. Puma and issue me resurface again. We had a temporary relief arrangements, and around that time also not BSP Bank or PNG was able to uplift the release of forex to the market from what was a $30 million amount released to now over $100 million amount released. Puma is in the front of the queue in respect to receiving a substantial part of those distributions monthly for the procurement of fuel into our country. I am surprised to learn that we have an issue right now. I think in that meeting with Central Bank and Minister Kua also representing cabinet and government had an emergency committee under his portfolio as Minister of Energy to look into this matter. Has been working to find a temporary solution, including giving Puma the relief they need, but Puma must also understand we have other essential services to supply forex to, including those who imports into our country, And the central bank has worked with Puma, asking them also to utilize proceeds of their sales outside to also pick up in terms of supply from forex to buy and procure fuels to come into our country. Going long term, we're looking into having alternate fuel arrangements. I have indicated a country, and I'm indicating through this question again, that ExxonMobil and MRDC is working with us for an alternate and an option. And we don't want to be reliant on only one supply forever. That was a deal of the past that we're trying to unbundle and unshackle. We are looking at other alternate fuel supplies in our country. There's a possibility of us looking into emergency laws further to compel not just fuel supply but use of infrastructure. And I just want to put to Puma, I know you operate business, but you also have to be fair and rational as you operate in our country. We are doing everything possible within the cap of forex we have to supply to them and allow them to peak earlier, quicker than most, so that they could continue supplying fuel to our country. So this short-term experience we having, hopefully this time next year, if not within the next 6 months, shouldn't be no more when we have an alternate fuel supplier that is readily available to supply fuel to our country. At the moment, we have worked with the other fuel suppliers to ensure they keep on supplying to the sectors where they can supply. The only area of stress that we might be facing is the aviation sector supply, because that is where Pima has a market dominance and supply contract. And we are in the business of unbundling this monopoly and domination. I speak in Parliament today, and I want to ask Puma, we've given you full support, greater support, and you also have to assist the market here in which you operate inside. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Member Longai Bena.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Give me time, answer, ask him question without notice to the good and hardworking Minister for State Enterprise. There's currently construction of towers for the transmission of high voltage power line between Mount Hagen and Yonki Dam. There is a general resentment from some of our people that may jeopardize this important project because of the assumption that power will be transmitted from two assumptions. One is that power will be transmitted from Hela through gas-powered energy through to Leh and of course to Wafigopu, and that may sort of not allow for Ramu 2 to proceed. So that's the first assumption. The second assumption in relation to that is that it's done by Dirio Power. So those are two assumptions that need clarification from the good minister. If you can clarify. And the third one is, of course, the delay with Ramu 2. If there can be some light shed on what's happening with Ramu 2 for the benefit of our people. And if there's a possibility of including that as an agenda for the upcoming PM's meeting to China. We understand the Chinese investor or contractor is assigned to do Ramu 2, so if that can be included in the PM's trip to China. Thank you.
Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Speaker, and I'd like to welcome you back to your chair. Good to have you back. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the member for Ungabena for this question. First, I want to emphasize and I want to point out that gas from our Heights gas fields not yet connected to any power supply. There's a small portion that was used to power the Pogoro mine, and that is a continuing relationship. But the gas from any field in Heights has not yet been connected yet, and also the power transmission lines have not yet been linked to any source in Heights. What is happening now is that there is a big Chinese contractor using funds that have been provided to our government from the Exim Bank of China to undertake and upgrade the very old and aging infrastructure starting from Mendi, Untari, all the way to Yonki. It is a major transmission upgrade that is being undertaken by PNG Power. As most of us will appreciate, in many other countries or in all countries, power transmission grids are reviewed and changed every 5 years or so. Unfortunately for our country, and especially for PNG Power, none of that has been done over many, many years. So what you have, those big transmission towers and lines are more than 40 years old. And they're inherently risky and dangerous, and they can actually drop down anytime. So it has been incumbent upon our government to take steps to fix it, and that has been done. We were able to obtain a loan from the Exim Bank of China, and there are 2 phases to this project. The first phase has been completed from Mendi all the way to Hagen, and the second phase has been started from Hagen all the way to Yonki. And then from Yonki to Leh, there's another contractor which is working on it now. It's funded by the Japanese contractor, and they are doing work from Yonki to Leh, and I think most of you have noticed work being done there. So to answer the question, no gas is being extracted, and no gas will be used to power this energy. All we are doing now is to upgrade and change the existing major transmission lines, and to enable power or energy source from either Yonki, or even if eventually when you do get some gas from gas, to be able to transmit gas, so that if there is a disaster in Yonki, we can have redundancy from heights, so that the country continues to have uninterrupted power. If there is a redundancy from other sources like Paund or even Heights, if it does come on board later on, then Yonki will power the entire region. So it is incumbent upon us as a country or government, a responsible government, to make sure that there is uninterrupted power from 2 sources. But to emphasize this question again, no gas from Heights will be used in the near future to supply our part of this the country, the islands region. We're relying heavily on the Yonki system, and much upgrade work is being done, and that is why Leh is facing a lot of issues, because the traditional supply from Yonki is being affected due to ongoing upgrading and rehabilitation work being done. Eventually, and we think Yonki will come back to full conventional production next year. Leh will have full complement of power available for it to be used, complemented by the other source from within Morbi province itself. In the case of the Ramu-2, I must point out that even when Ramu-2 does come on board, that will still not be enough to provide power for Leh Highlands region and also Medang, due to the increasing population, the expanding cities, and additional business activities which are likely to come on board. So you're looking at a population of nearly 4 to 5 million people living in that corridor. So even when Ramu-2 comes on board, there will still be a need for additional power sources. So we can still continue with our efforts to look at additional hydropower sources, even from Finsavan, for instance, or there may be others, even from the Chimbu province. We must all work together to make sure that we have a lot of hydro sources available, so that we can then feed our increasing population and factories and developments and even the mines that will come on stream. So in the case of Ramu-2, to answer the question, there are processes that we have to follow. The issue of a guarantee is just one of the many boxes that we need to tick. And Treasury is now evaluating. We must also understand that Treasury has a responsibility to make sure that whatever arrangements we have do not necessarily expose our country to unnecessary risk. So they are doing what is expected of them, and we expect them to give us an answer. If they're able to issue the guarantee, then there'll be one box that has to be ticked. And then we also have to work together with the Wafi Golpu mine and see the energy needs And if they are satisfied that power from Ramutu will be able to meet their needs, they will then make a commercial decision based on their interests. There are a different public or private business entity. So if all the right boxes are ticked, of course, Ramutu will be a goer. So we have the issue of guarantee. If once again, if Treasury does issue the guarantee, then of course it will be incumbent upon our government and of course our Prime Minister. If it is appropriate and if the guarantee has been used, no doubt he will then be pushing for our case when he visits Beijing. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Deputy Opposition Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Na lo side blum platoon bla mas lo looking sit down lo say you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Question without notice below me. My question without notice directed to the good Madam Minister for Labour. Thank you. My questions are as follows. Before I ask the question, I'd like to also say that my question is in relation to one of the questions that was asked the previous day in response to a question without notice on the floor. The Honorable Minister for Labour again highlighted her ministry's desire to create 1 million jobs for Papua New Guinea by the amazing year of 2027. 1 million jobs. That is about 1/10 of our population. Mr. Speaker, this is not only ambitious and good for the nation, but it is something that I think Papua New Guineans and we all leaders want to see it come to realization. Having a desire is different to having a plan, because a plan must be accompanied by clear strategy and a definite budget is to implement it, otherwise it is just wishful thinking. Mr. Speaker, we all know very recently Elamotos advertised several portions and there was about 1,000 plus applicants who went for an interview at Lamana just for around 10 jobs. We also know from history, Mr. Speaker, that Stanley Hotel had 40 jobs out in the market and there were more than 3,000 people who lined up for the jobs. Mr. Speaker, my question to the good Madam Minister is, as a former senior public servant, does she really believe in that figure that she has been touting, or is she just content
We have a point
to
of
be
order.
part of?
Honorable Deputy Opposition Leader, we have a point of order. What is your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, my point of order is that the recently launched MTDP4 has clearly outlined where those jobs will come out from. So if the good Deputy Opposition Leader has not read through the document, he needs to do that first before he asks his question on the floor. Thank you.
Honorable Opposition, Deputy Opposition Leader, you may continue your...
My good friend, the Public Accounts Committee Chairman, if he was patient enough, I'm getting there. It's in page 15. Unfortunately, he's not patient enough to listen to my questions. So, Mr. Speaker, where did I stop? Content to being part of the government's propaganda machine, where everything that happens is either a new event or a new record. For example, yesterday or the previous day, the PM stated that the Australian Labour Mobility Scheme is a first-time event in PNG created by this government, when everyone who can remember will recall that the scheme was introduced to PNG as part of the Pacific Australia Labour Mobility Scheme during the time of the Minister for Labour and member for KVN Open, Mr. Martin Aini, late 1990s. Now we have the member for KVN again, the Treasurer, Honorable Ian Linstaki, is spearheading the same program. Also yesterday, in his response to a question by the leader of the opposition.
Honorable Deputy Opposition Leader, are you airing your grievances, or you all are like asking?
I'm getting to the question.
When I ask your question then.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Otherwise, I would allow you to put out your grievances in the grievance debate.
Mr. Speaker, may I continue?
Yes, you may
Thank
do
you.
so, but
Thank
ask
you.
your question.
The 1 million target employment that the Madam Minister has been referring to is in page 15 of the so-called medium-term development plan. Is this just a propaganda, as there is no real accompanying strategy to indicate how the numbers will be achieved? Mr. Speaker, let me make it clear that the data shows our annual employment figures are somewhere between 2,000 to 4,000 annually. Even if this is raised to 10,000 annually, that will bring it to less than 100,000 employees. For example, does the Madam Minister really believe that 15,000 jobs will be created by each of the 90 DDAs just because the government has decreed that it must happen as it's stated in page 15 of the medium-term development plan? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Minister for Labour and Employment.
Mr. Speaker, me too. Me like acknowledge him. You come to see you again. Na me talk welcome back lo. This la house blow you na you sit down la see you. I want to thank the Deputy Opposition Leader for your question. It's a very good question because unemployment is a big issue, and we have a lot of our people who are unemployed. And I must, from the outset, say that we have a growing population. Population blayumiam got 12 million, economy blayumiam lik. So this government, the Maraperoso government, our strategies in these 5 years and the previous 2 years has been to grow the economy and do a shift away from the extractive and to the non-resource sector. And the statistics that has been published by NSO, Central Bank, Treasury, they show that growth has been in the non-resource sector in the last 3 years. So I want something like him was opposition must go na consult him all this book, look where the growth is. So in terms of the 1 million jobs, you may talk long Mr. Speaker. Desire blow me, no thinking blow me, policy blow government, plan blow government. We call it medium-term development for. Talk us by 2027 we must create 1 million jobs. And Mr. Speaker, I must remind the good Deputy Leader for Opposition that there's a Vision 2050 that was launched in 2009. And there is also a PNG strategic development plan where we are implementing now. It's a 30-year plan from 2010 to 2030. In that plan, it talks about creation of 2 million jobs in 30 years. Look at one government all gonna look this la na try to address him this la. It is this government that Mibla looks at we have a target, Vision 2050 and PNG SDP of 2 million, and we have not done anything. So as a responsible government, that has been brought now in the next 5 years for us to create that. And Mr. Deputy, Mr. Speaker, is that achievable or not? Yes, it's an ambitious plan, but it is achievable. Before I talk about that, we must talk about Deputy Opposition Leader, I'm been Staff Forest Minister now look, MTDP4. We plug at 120,000 jobs block come up this sector. I've been making, suppose I've been making work belong the rehabilitating or plantation and this at least some work by created. So before you talk to you think him yet one is something you know making before you talk to. So Mr. Speaker, that target is achievable. Each sector has the target. If our Deputy Opposition Leader goes back and look at the strategies that we have now, downstream processing of our natural resources, investment in special economic zone, all this investment in Connect PNG, they will be creating jobs. Government is actually spending a lot of money in the economy. and that will trickle down to creation of jobs. And for our people out there, yes, we understand we have a population problem. I'm no wrong government law, population law, you may go big plan, but we are responsible and we have to do something about it. So, of course, yes, we are trying to address the issue of unemployment and that 1 million jobs. Deputy Opposition Leader, me all get a line law here, me play responsible law work one them law creating this law. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, all honorable members. Time popular 5 minutes long. Ask him, talk sabe gam lare blongan. Imi now come no time lo grievance debate na before me allow him grievance debate and start. Me just like make him comment lo here from the chair also plenty time grievance debate after grievance debate. He got plenty all good point members of parliament also raise him. Na imi talk imi note him but usat by action him. Plenty time miluk lo desla box lo site na antapia all workman blo yumi all blo implement him desla all na stop. Na all desla point yumi yet harim na idai lo yumi lo here. Liglik talk ta sol milek talk him all sem sia. Iko paso desla na me now milek talk all sem time lo grievance debate and the question is that the grievance debate be noted. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Grievance debate now. Honorable Minister na Attorney General na member belong Imbongu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Me talk also a member belong Imbongu. Mr. Speaker, me like making one blood talk. Along this week, opposition leader raised him some blood questions. Along Prime Minister. Me play on meeting and this question and raise him. A meeting or some opposition leader, he got responsibility. All questions, we must ask him with sense of responsibility. Time you may answer him too. You must answer him with sense of responsibility. Questions without notice, erase him, embarrass him thinking blong, or passing or name blong. One leader. This time I'm raising and Prime Minister belong country. You mean leader and you mean must one Prime Minister stop. You know two Prime Minister. Prime Minister he talk one them planned it or President belong this wall. Also President belong Indonesia. President belong United States of America, King belong England, an Australian Prime Minister. So I mean Putin also, we must think good now walk him talk. He no can fire up nothing. And man responsible, and you me olgara, and Prime Minister he go, mark him go long, Prime Minister he represent me plana, and talk one of the more leaders. Time you meet talk nothing, fire nothing in this house. All man meriting also on him. Or Narbla country thing also on him. So me thinking him good long. You mean leader must thinking good night you mean walking. Responsible statements. He no can fire nothing now. Make him also mean bagrab him, you mean bagrab him this country. This country, you mean your leaders in Nablum bagrab or you bill him. You mean talk, you mean must bill him. This parliament, start off with this parliament. Talk, na passing, you mean make him long end. Me speaker, me feel him also. You mean must be responsible. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Member of Abau.
Thank you, Speaker, and welcome back. Very short grievance debate only two matters in which Honorable Chair, you may need to take note. One of my observations over the years has been that there is very little private business bills being presented on the floor of Parliament. And therefore, having been exposed to a backbench position, I have been trying to look at certain provisions of the law, and in my last attempt to provide a private business bill, both of us had a discussion on the lack of clarity of the standing orders with regards to the facilitation of the private members' bill process. And so I would want a strong recommendation during this grievance debate for you as the head of the legislature, if we can progress it. And that is that the private business bill goes to the private business committee of the House. The private business committee, as per the standing orders, only meets during sittings of Parliament at 1:30 p.m. on Wednesdays. And so it took a long time for my private business bill to be cleared because of that particular provision. The only provision in that private business bill is when there is a no quorum, then the Speaker can then make a decision. And maybe that opens some allowance for the private business. I'm recommending, Honorable Speaker, that we provide another provision underneath the standing order. I think it's standing order section 22 of the standing orders. Subsection 5 I'm recommending, and that is for the private business committee to not only sit on Wednesdays 1:30 p.m., but on other days as well, on the call of the chairman of the private business committee. Because the provisions of 1:30 p.m. on Wednesday really relate to the provision under vote of no confidence provision. And therefore, the private business committee is established to address the motion of vote of no confidence. And it comes on Thursday as a private business. And so if I can strongly recommend through this grievance debate, if that can be looked at so that we facilitate private members' bills to come to the floor rather than only the government bringing bills on the floor of Parliament. That has been my observation, Honourable Speaker. I hope that we can provide a solution to it and make it easy. My second debate is on behalf of my people of Amazon Bay, and I'm sorry that the Minister for Works and Highway has left the House. And that is in this year's, and I am the supporter of Connect PNG policy, and I have expressed it in this honorable House. But I take the key from my honorable governor from the Central Province that the priority should be given to connecting the provinces to the service centers rather than connecting other provinces to Port Moresby, for example. That's my strong position. And so for me, the reason why I supported Connect PNG is because half of Abao is not covered by road. I go 4 to 5 hours dingy to the last local level government called Amazon Bay, which connect to the Alotau electorate. And so this year, my grievance on behalf of my people of Amazon Bay local level government is only 10 million was allocated to punch the road on the unconnected part of the Magi Highway, which is in Cloudy Bay. And that has finished now, so they only punched 10 kilometers, and they've stopped. And so in February, I brought the Minister for Forest up, hoping that the Minister for Works and the Forest will sit down together, because we've got two forest companies there, one in Cloudy Bay and one in Amazon Bay. They're already punching the roads. And so rather than the government spending a lot of money, Works Department, Forest work together with the forest company and say, these are our planned roads to connect it to Amazon Bay. So work together and punch the road rather than spending 10 million and they've stopped and not got more. But I want to thank the government, our government, on behalf of the people of Abal, because there is a 33-kilometer ceiling road from where the ceiling stops in the bridge called Emilia to Moreguina. That work has started by Global, and thank you, and it's looking really good. And hopefully in 3 years' time, there'll be another 33 kilometers. I'm not too sure the amount, maybe 100 million or so. I think that should be reversed. I think that 100 million should be spent on connecting the unconnected part above, because there are 3 big rivers to cross. And so 10 million, I think, is too small. So I was going to request through this grievance debate with Prime Minister and Works and the Highways Minister for the supplementary budget, if this can be looked at. So if can increase the component so that the punching of the road can continue towards Amazon Bay, or that the Minister for Works and Minister for Forest work together with the 2 existing forest companies and then make it quicker. And because there are existing old forest roads, it's really not easy to clean those old roads up, and we connect Cloudy Bay to Amazon Bay. My last grievance debate, Mr. Speaker, is in the name of the Connect PNG, the Works Department awarded a local company to go and clean up the end of the Magi Highway, which is the responsibility of the FMA area. It's in the FMA area. And so I ran the Minister for Works and said, why are you wasting money on an FMA area where the FMA is responsible for all those roads? Because other sections of the Magi Highway all bagar up. Why didn't they come and fix those sides of the Magi Highway rather than go to an area where the FMA area, the forest company is already doing the job and we wasted money? So all this plaka illegally something here, can we connect the dots properly so that we are gaining traction a lot more than what we are talking? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Governor Blong Isivik.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Now, it's good to have you back in the chair. Mr. Speaker, this particular grievance is in relation to the question by the Deputy Opposition Leader and the response from the Minister for Labour and Employment. And I think it's a big issue. We've spoken about it at length. But again, I regret to say we still have no firm strategy. Our population sits at around maybe 12 million, maybe 14 million. There are predictions that within another 10 years, our population will be over 20 million people. So the debate about how many jobs we need to create is going to get even more pronounced over the next 5 to 10 years. What needs to happen is that this government, this parliament now, needs to come up with a strategy. Now, if that strategy involves diversifying our economy away from the extractive sector, then we need to see that strategy. We need a team of people that are sitting down right now constructing that particular strategy. We need to have people vetting that particular strategy. And so far, despite many debates, many questions on the floor, that hasn't happened. Now, I'm not sure if that is the responsibility for the Minister for Labour. I think that is a responsibility for the Ministerial Economic Committee, because it cuts across many different ministries and not just one. I don't think it sits necessarily under planning, and I don't think it sits necessarily under treasury. And I think therein lies the confusion. Because whilst we may want to blame the previous government or blame the government before that, shifting blame here and there does not solve the problem. Our young people remain unemployed. The long-term unemployed are still unemployed.
until the jobs are actually created, the problem remains. And we sit in this house and throw mud at each other. That doesn't help. One government needs to take ownership of this particular issue within our economy. The idea of trickle-down economy works really well. Trickle-down economics works really well in Western countries, in first world countries, because their economic systems are clearly defined. Blo yumi em nogat. Big plahab blo giraun em sidan wantemolman lo place. More than 90% of the land is owned by traditional landowners. It becomes inaccessible. But let me just also congratulate the government on appointing a special committee to look at lands. And let me congratulate the Honorable Keith Iduhu, who has some ideas about where he wants to take us in that particular aspect. But let me come back to some of the things we can do. If you look at the strategy for responsible sustainable development, which was produced under the Honorable Charles Abel and launched by the Honorable Peter O'Neill, who was Prime Minister at the time, a lot of the strategy we need is already written and it's sitting under planning. I am not sure how much of it has actually been deployed. Because if you look at that particular strategy, it talks about three things in particular: forestry, fisheries, and agriculture. But more than that, it looks at things like ecotourism, which is some of the things that we've been talking about in a lot of our debates and in our questioning. Now, beneath that, you look at forestry. What we did, and this is where the criticism from the Deputy Opposition Leader is actually correct. We increased the tariff on the export of logs. We increased it up to 50%, then we increased it up to 70%. Now, that is fine because we wanted to make sure that the state's policy on banning round log exports will actually happen through a tariff. But what we failed to do was, on the flip side, I'm not sure if we sat down with the logging operators and said to them, look, these are the incentives that the government is willing to give in order for you to go to downstream processing so that we can create jobs in the rural areas. We simply gave them a tariff, closed the door, and many of them packed up and left. Now, I'm not sure who is taking responsibility for that particular action, but that is on this government. It's on our government. We passed the appropriation bill on this floor, and we closed the gates on the logging sector. We should have been a little bit smarter about that. We should have taken our time. We should have gone to the logging sector and said, look, if you build the factories, if you employ the people, if you create the jobs, then these are the incentives we will give you. We never did that. So that is on us. But it is not too late. We have a budget coming up. In the next couple of months, we can reverse that, but we needed to go with a bunch of regulations. And in that particular regulation, we should specify what sort of benefits, what sort of incentives are we going to offer to the logging sector in order for them to create the jobs. Suppose one logging company also now you may hire me operate lo abao. Now suppose you may give him incentive long em na me put in one factory lahap. Now suppose me employ him 3,000 man meri inside long abao. Suddenly you have a small economy going. We have a similar situation in TVWAN in Isipik, where a company went ahead and built a factory. They employ 3,000 people. But they are struggling because what we've done is we've also hit them with a massive logging tariff. So again, I think there should be a think tank, whether sitting in the office of the Prime Minister or sitting within the Ministerial Economic Committee, that should be sitting down to devise these things so that they work in balance. You know, you may stick him on the solo upside, but provide him incentive, lo suruki mol go upside. The same thing can be done in fisheries, and I don't know if the Minister for Fisheries and his team are handling that. I know that there is a strong push to try to put a lot more tuna factories in Papua New Guinea. But I understand that some tuna plants are also closing down and laying workers off in Morobe and also in Medang. So again, what is the policy imperative there? You may make him one M. How you may adjust him all this policy Lo halevi moldesla company. The truth of the matter is this. For every 1 kina that government invests, now you talk, you developing economy, the private sector is able to bring in 100 kina for every kina that we put down. A smart government would construct policies that attract private sector investment in order to create the jobs. But we seem to be shutting the door on private sector everywhere, and the biggest complaints are actually coming from the private sector. Suppose you may enable in private sector, and you may government by sit back and relax, they will be creating the jobs that we need. The real engine room for jobs is in the private sector, not with government. So you all ministers, my good ministers, I want to urge you to think like this. You may enable in private sector. You may construct him all rules, lo control him conduct, lo private sector. And then we set them free. This is the part of our economy that we have been denying for so long. If we want the jobs, whatever strategy, if anyone is working on it or if they are going to work on it, they must be thinking about deploying the energy, deploying the creative minds in the private sector.
Hello, I'm Maricela Kelleton with the news update. The drug and alcohol policy launched in Port Moresby yesterday is a first of its drug testing policy aimed at ensuring police officers are not under the influence of drugs and alcohol while performing their duties. Assistant Commissioner of Police and NCD's Central Commander Anthony Wagambi Jr. said the testing of illicit drug and alcohol will commence once logistics are ready. In setting the standard as a senior officer, ACP Wagambi Jr. said he will get tested first before officers in his command. Wagambi added that testing for drugs and alcohol will occur on a weekly basis.
The emerging challenge which we are facing in the constabulary, not only in the constabulary but as a country, with the use of cocaine and methamphetamine within our communities. You will find that it's a very dangerous drug. Sadly to say, it has already found its way to the constabulary. And we have members of the force, especially here in NCD and Central, under my division, that are actually using it.
Commissioner of Police David Manning said the sentencing of prominent lawyer Paul Parker shows police commitment and capability in the investigation of criminal offences. He made this comment at the launching of the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary Drug and Alcohol Policy in Port Moresby.
The Police Commissioner David Manning said the guilty verdict that has sent prominent lawyer Paul Parker to prison is an example of the capability that police have in investigating criminal offences. He said the investigation was a result of the Commission of Inquiry by the Finance Department initiated by the late Grand Chief Sir Michael Sumare.
This is far from the last such a case that we're investigating. The RPNGC is committed to ensuring that we deliver a strong front end when it comes to dealing with corruption.
He said 162 million kina is a significant amount of money to have been stolen, money that could otherwise be used to buy medical drugs and other essential services for the people. Manning added that the police investigation into the Parker case will be ruled out because some of the co-accused have passed on.
Rule out any other further investigations relating to the Parker case. We have to appreciate that some of his co-accused have passed on as well, but there are others that are still around that we would be interested, very much interested in in interviewing them again as to the possible.
The commissioner said police will still investigate other criminal cases relating to the Paraka case. A Supreme Court chaired by Judge Teresa Berrigan on Wednesday, October 4th, sentenced senior lawyer Paul Paraka to 20 years imprisonment for misappropriating 162 million kina belonging to the state. Paraka was convicted under Criminal Law Section 383A(1)(a)(2)(b) of the Criminal Code. Following 5 counts misappropriating property belonging to the state between years 2007 and 2011. Paraka was the principal of the law firm Paul Paraka Lawyers. Judge Berrigan ruled that the sentence was based on the maximum penalty of 10 years imprisonment. In this case, based on 5 offenses, Paraka was sentenced to 50 years. But taking into consideration Paraka's medical record and community standing as a senior lawyer, he was sentenced to 20 years imprisonment with light labor. Tracy Pa, TVWAN News.
A forum will be held with Koyari landowners to properly discuss issues through the Department of Commerce. Minister for Finance and National Planning Renbo Paita, Member for Hiri Koyari Kit Iduhu, and Minister for Commerce Henry Amuli addressed aggrieved landowners early this week after meeting their 15 million kina demand and allowing restoration of water and power supply to the city. Arua Salesoge, chairman for Central Sogeri Holdings Limited, said the forum is necessary. It will allow both parties to discuss how they can be more transparent and accountable in their dealings.
He has assured us that there will be a forum sponsored and conducted through the Department of Commerce, and which is it's sort of a welcoming news to our ears, because we believe and trust through that forum we can identify correctly which people should be paid and which people are actually coming in as one of the landowners. So after this forum, we believe we would be sorted out properly and we can do things transparently and accountably.
Department of Personnel Management is set to host regional workshops on reform programs currently being undertaken by the department. The workshop will begin with the Highlands region from October 16 to 20. The workshops are aimed in informing, educating, disseminating and engaging stakeholder participation from all government agencies on reforms including public service housing and related policy consultation, performance management system, retirement process and requirements, gender equity and social inclusion, and health awards. The regional workshop for the Highlands will be followed by the New Guinea Islands from October 23rd to 27th, Momase region from 6th to 10th November, and Southern region from November 13 to 17. The National Capital District will conduct its own from November 27 to December 1st. Parliament yesterday established a special parliamentary committee on customary land and land reforms in Papua New Guinea. The committee consists of 7 members of parliament. The committee will focus on conducting reviews on current land tenure systems, engaging with relevant stakeholders including landowners, and proposing legislative reforms among other key areas.
The primary objective of the committee is to conduct a comprehensive review and assessment of the existing land tenure system in Papua New Guinea and identify challenges, propose reforms, recommend strategies to enhance the formalization and the effectiveness of land tenure ownership and use.
In regional news, the Mint in Canberra has unveiled Australia's newest currency featuring the image of King Charles. The new monarch will appear on legal tender before the year is out, and that's generating a buzz among coin enthusiasts keen to add a new face to their collection.
Cash may no longer be king, but the king is now on the cash.
This will be the first time for most Australians that they have held a circulating coin which has a king on it rather than a queen.
After 70 years and more than 15.5 billion coins, the face of Queen Elizabeth on our legal tender will soon be replaced by her son, King Charles III. The long design process required approval from Buckingham Palace.
Queen Elizabeth II face to the right. As is tradition, King Charles III will face to the left.
In the age of electronic banking, there'll be a smaller run of just 10 million new $1 coins minted this year.
If you use cash and you get change, you increase your chance of getting a coin.
The other denominations will be rolled out next year, with the government and coin collectors dismissing speculation these could be the last ever new coins.
No country in the world has phased out cash.
When I have to go to the shops to buy something, I use cash and coins.
I'm going to be very excited to welcome it into my collection, so I'm going to keep an eye out.
The first iteration of coins bearing King Charles III's face will be rolled out by Christmas. That's around a year after the UK counterparts. But with machines here at the Royal Australian Mint that produce up to 600 coins a minute, this is not something they want to get wrong.
Ensuring these new coins are literally fit for a king.
Queensland's tough youth justice laws have led to some young people being held for long periods in police watch houses. The Premier says she's heard the criticism, so now a new youth remand centre will be built.
Vacant lot soon to be the site of a youth remand centre.
A place to go, which is not in long-term watch houses.
The government unveiling plans to rapidly build a 50-bed facility amid long-running criticism over children being held in adult watch houses.
No one wants to see young people in watch houses for extended periods of time. I don't want to see it. The public doesn't want to see it.
We can't show you what the facility will look like. Design plans are yet to be drawn up, but the government insists it'll be fast-tracked and finished next year.
This youth remand centre will go a long way to creating that capacity.
Demand has never been so high.
We make no apology for having some of the harshest youth justice laws in the country.
Latest figures show Queensland has more children in youth detention on an average night than any other state. And amid youth crime crackdowns, there's been pressure on police watch houses. Earlier this year, one young person spent 39 days.
It doesn't help any community safety when they come out angrier because they've spent a long period of time in these traumatic environments.
Lawyer Catherine Hayes says the government has been warned for years.
It's entirely foreseeable that we would need more accommodation built or have a greater investment in diversion. So this is too little too late, probably.
Why wasn't it built, something like this built in 2019 when those concerns were first raised?
Well, that's a good question.
2 more youth detention centres are expected to open by 2026. That's all for now. Join us at 6 this evening for the main news. Bye for now.
Debate lomi igolo wabla logging project lomi lo district lomi. I hear Governor Bet and me talk to logging na probably consequences blow this decision you mean working law increasing tariff and me affecting project lomi badly. That's the reason why I was going to ask one question I think on Tuesday, a supplementary to the forestry minister, but I was told to sit down because it was a different question or a new question. And the fact of the matter is that the East Darwin FMA project, even common law 2019, even start operation last year, only shut down, only wind down, or only go finish. Now me work wonder what caused the problem. Now time me investigate, go back. Or place line me blaming me or say me shutting down project. Because some area blow display line only no vote me na only thing or say me bailout na me go shutting down the project. But then I realized after thorough investigation, the East Darwin FMA project sits 900 miles up the upstream of Fly River, right to where opposite Kiunga is. and it operates. And operation cost below this project is very, very expensive. They burn millions of liters or thousands of liters to export Naulis Karim. It's one of those projects among the Western Province Nabla projects around. So the point they raised was this: hardly only sustaining, tariff we go on top to mass, and one reason. Nabla reason only talk market, all right. Now me trying to understand him now. That was the reason why I wanted to ask the minister. Suppose Department of Forestry, he got some and some display. Did we cause the problem? Suppose you may cause him this problem, enough you may review him again, reconsider him some factors. Suppose Osam Allen, Governor Allen Beddy talk. Did we put the hard stick? You may party more now only cause him this problem, or you may try to review him, try to scale him, look him. I'm one concern me got district me try because me lose him almost 500 plus workman. No hard man, all plus money is a kisim royalty, only to all no more kisim. Have lo this plus side and all bushman taso. Now only to building plenty road is stop, now only pack up, now only go. Now all the machine no more, no nothing. Places and colpis is stop. Now worry work lo kisimi lo have a me look at them or the line lo upside because now plus side them octave stop, now all money benefit. Now plus side them all bushman is stop. Bandri blow nomad one time Kiunga. This talk. Second debate for me you may talk lo creating employment. The very important sector sit down clear place clear straight agriculture. Now the fact of matter is we haven't done enough. We haven't done enough. The department need to come out place clear. We have created Ministry of Coffee, Ministry of Oil Palm, Ministry of Livestock. Now me go to Livestock Ministry Department, me ask him, talk, he doesn't know what he's doing. Because Agriculture Department, mama plo, this blah, hand leg only give him there. Or only work to find him half staff. How about only operate? This is a real issue. Now, me look think of them. Can there be specific indicators, targets we doing as an agriculture department? You may talk about downstream, plenty of this agriculture work here, but where is the volume? Target where? You may not even producing place clear. Say, for instance, coffee. If I were to do a deal with China, now only by asking you millions of coffee bags do you wear? Now me looking back side there, you may not have coffee volume stuff, yeah? One kind of one them. Livestock too, one kind. One them not a plow. All palm to no God. This is clear. So let's be specific. The Department of Agriculture need to rise up immediately. Now creating this work. Be specific. Put him down resources quickly. Don't waste time talking. We can talk and talk. You want something but come up here. If we are building road, hurry up, Salim. Didiman workman must go, hurry up. Behind him, road to go. New road going to about. Didiman work must behind him, hurry up. Extension go, hurry up. Putting down resources quickly. We are sitting and talking forever. And what will happen? There's no jobs created. We will go around the circles like this. That's my clear, honest opinion or observation I've observed. There was a recent announcement by the minister who stepped down. He said there are two things his department want to do: rehabilitation and volume. That is correct. But how far have we gone? Today, one has announced from that department telling us how many volumes of coffee bags have we produced as a country. Nothing. That demand is out there, but where is the volume? Put on money. Enough of all this unnecessary work. We may work him. Cut him off. One and another commodity, one kind. Rubber to one kind. Put down big money quickly. That's what we must do. Create this employment. I'm thinking I'm stop less clear. We are just talking, but actual work, you mean not working, producing volume. And vanilla to one kind. People of the province will try to making vanilla. Try to compete with the ECP. Oil palm jubla napla province go finish. Put in on money oil palm quickly. Put it on money vanilla quickly. Put it on money rice area. Abawia or Rigo or rice only togi area. Put it on money. No can wasting time to because thousands of people will be employed there. That's where the employment is. That's where you meet talk now money cross you go come low. 1,000 plow, million man walk by me walk away. Let's get it done. Time is running. Governor Ipata Sali, how much workman logo? Australia, where? What do you see? Only complain of 130 money, pani work, no one will come back here. Let's create employment here. Don't waste time talking. I'm really hard to talk me. Clear, honest opinion blow me. That's where the employment is. Thousands of people are there. Forget about the extractive industry. You may talk crazy, talk musky. Those proceeds we get from the mining or anywhere, put down heavy quickly. So I urge the Department of Agriculture, livestock, coffee, oil palm, you see that, no can see that nothing. Make him work, hurry up, put him. Now creative employment, people believe me. Thank you too much.
Honorable Member Mulbaya.
Thank you, long. As a speaker, looks how long. People from Mulbaya will make him debate lawyer. Grievous debate below me. I think all the man is stop. You may talk about right, but sample sit in black and sample sit man is stop. Thank you, long. Member Blomendi, you regime good blah talk to the floor. Me la gerim tasol na talk to here because me are mosem. There's someone taking note of what we are debating now. So, Minister, Police, good answer you beg him. Good luck question you raise him. I want to go back to you mean like Totolong, all gun. All gun here. Firearm in the villages. Now you may talk long. Creative job opportunities for the people. By me creating more agriculture, coffee by me growing, coconuts, cocoa, tea. I'm all get something in the Sangrolo town. I'm also grow a place here. Now place you make out long. Also something I'm walking house in Para, walking house local villages. All man seem strong. All fight back long ground long all. I'm just something that's all but give strong long all but fight back lo you mean. Time you mean go you mean stop it's like law and order situations. Now source of manpower, police, army. I'm also something man all him stop by even like walking walk. All firearms, all businessmen, politicians, all man me in government law it talk right long by me on him. Me on a pistol. Pistol legally short la pistol you make at put you side na around him. This la pistol me got right long all him na on him. Na you got license long him. Plant all gun or same. M16, AR-15, all Sikh rivals, all issues belong, department belong, all disciplinary process. But right now, we are having it right in our villages. One man, all cut long, you may all get us away. You may all members, you miss away. Council, church rep, leaders in each communities, all get us away. Osem John Peter Patrick, Emolonim Shangan stop. You may remember to get gun, Emol man Sawin stop. Extra bone blumia. Extra bone blumia to Osem, you may all him stop. You may must put him some measures in place. This parliament, this government. You must repossess him all gun back. How are we going to repossess all the guns back? Man, this blame the place clear, place sing. House cry, fight, kill him, all him go up. Man car around, animal car around. In on rock peak Carabano, you may look him Lalusim. I blow police, I blow defense force. All Karam na sing na sam kam goya. House cry all you see me. Even during my campaign times, me looking too. Me policeman, but me mega mosemonem. Me ex-Koba, I can't do much. Me one plug go, mad. But we need force. Gun is stop here, you me Saulo, you me yet. Please. Now I'm being back here. Me Saulo, someone is taking note of this. I want us to repossess all the firearms back, illegal firearms. They are not policemen, they are not defense force, they are not soldiers, they are none other than discipline force. They are not allowed to hold the guns. Under the law, people are committing offense, still we are letting it go. People must keep also gun back. How soon by you all get a gun back? You must put them on a strategy in place. One way or the other. If a politician holding on a gun, if you have an AR-15, if you have a Sikh rival, own up, return, make that gun, me give him back the police, all the time give him. Take lead and do it. Council president should be doing it. Councillors in the villages should be doing it. Church leaders should be doing it. And members should be doing it. Ex-politicians, current politicians, intended politicians. Hold the line. And we must return him all the gun back. And something below you. You may talk, you may lotu na chimi pairam lo bakset. You lotu na go every Sunday you go lotu, every Sabbath you go lotu. Gun be stop lo bakset. Every Sunday stop bakset. You may imagine and go lotu nothing. Firearms should be returned immediately, soon. People talk. Hey, firearm lo make killing pig. You got wild pig lo place me, wild dog lo place me. And purpose block give him this gun and block killing man. All walk me talk and go in Chelo district below me, go in province below me. Like my place, me come the place where he got AC chat, me got routine staff, me got buyer staff, me la work in development. Man all him gonna touch him bully staff. I want this portion. Last time me broke my court people on me no come the yellow bakaram court people come. Me like development place below me and me like development. Me broke him court people and go down. Kind something is happening so. Please, people own up. Sorry, I'm neglecting to talk because you may not make him so me talk. You may make him now. You may start now, you may make him. Suppose you may not make him, all the something will start going on. 2027 we will be going to a worse situation. And Adlo control him, police Adlo control him. Army Adlo control him. All this offense. All man la kam nalbi miblo long all this la election process lo yumi na kano se me mar long ba create him. And by yumi na arlo by him stop him so. Me like him now as a government of the day. Miblo now miblo stop long and me like him me put him some operation measures in place so that we can start doing it. How we are going to do it? Indo yumi discuss. We have the police force in place. We have the defense force in place. We have some intelligence in places. People at the back. We have to do something and then recover all the firearms back because these firearms, whoever is in possession of these firearms are well known. They are known. They are having this gun or community sawi stop. People are going and walking house close to, walking fire close to long house to we stop next to what's a firearm one out. Community by community, council ward by council ward, district by district, you must see what's a firearm back. Especially in the island regions, most of coastal too, you may now you may come up. Kind man say, man, you know, by me talk islands, that's coastal islands mix one them. We'll have to repossess all the firearms backs because all no got power at right law, gun blong, na police, na gun blong, defense force, na all disciplinary forces must guard long and all man, lo place, all himself. Please, you mix him back. Thank you.
Honorable Member for Yanguru. Thank you, Acting Speaker. We got some short block grievance debate law this morning. Mr. Speaker, number one, debate below me, I'm long. NEC decision, the government decision now long. Replace the F100, and unsafe, you may continue to use more, no spare parts. You may go to survey. So by 2025, by you may do away with F100. Now got the airport, major airports by jet servicing. We are bringing in the jets now. But they got two provincial airports where, important airports where runway is short. One place in Lomideg, and another place we work. We need to increase the runway sizes to 1,900 meters. Now, my concern was, me no looking some definite work. Now, plan for next year to have these both airports extended. Now, got appropriate terminal to be built. Right now, no so me must raise him on the floor. So, people of these two provinces and the country must realize, with the coming of the jets and all the airports will be serviced by Boeing aircraft, they require a minimum landing strip of 1,900 meters. Now, this is a truly important airport. No, God. I'm grateful to the government. We've done one already. Now, this too needs to be brought online very quickly. So I wanted to raise it on the floor. The grievance debate was the extension of both the Medang Airport and the Wewak Airport have to be given absolute priority now. And not only that, they must also have new terminals built. So this is important. The government needs to take note. It's a need and the requirement to do it. Another issue we like bringing along grievance debate, them all key national institutions and the infrastructural audit institutions. One example is Mon Barracks in Isipik. Amino one provincial institution. Amino responsibility below Isipik provincial government. So but you call a mom now, they have 5 kilometers going into the barracks, CM wiping off road finish. I was there last week, middle of long, low western in barracks. This Inoka road now for 5 years going into the barracks. These are the soldiers who serve our border post. Now look at you right along the border. They've sacrificed their lives to serve this nation. Now you may know, put him road long and make concern lo this la. Me amas lo lugim connect PNG. We were announcing some very big funding to major roads, and that's a good thing. But please, I also talk about Goldie Barracks, because I look at same thing. The state of roads into these barracks. Who said now responsible of this little barracks here? Who is going to build the roads? Recently we brought the Australian Prime Minister to Mom Barracks. I must tell you, I was very embarrassed with the state of the road. We don't have a road there. So can we include that in Connect PNG, some other program, get these roads done. Goldie, we must do it well. This is the pride of our nation. So somebody must be responsible for key infrastructure to our key institutions like Goldie, Mom, Naudabla Barracks. Honorable Member, you have a point of order.
Me, like, got respect, with due respect to the Honorable Minister, but maybe it may be out of the debate, but my thinking is this. The Minister who is in the NEC, a cabinet, you have the ultimate powers to discuss those at your cabinet level. Why wouldn't you give opportunity to ask the backbenchers to debate? That's what I think. Thank you.
Thank you, Member, for not flying. Your point of order is in order. Minister, you can have your question when you can sit down long any sinner. If I can ask you, but me can give him slowly. You can want him to solve finish him.
Okay. Me think we should raise him the floor so that our people also know that we've raised it as leaders of this country. Yeah. So let me raise him. Last play issue we got long all roads we got international roads classification, provincial roads, and then district roads. Me looking at some in the allocation of resources. Some people understand some provincial roads, some work provincial government, district roads, some work long districts, national roads and international roads, some work national government. But me say looking the floor every time you become the floor. All members are asking along all district roads, now provincial roads to be funded by Connect PNG. Now I'm making plenty confusion on me plus Sambla. When I'm brought by me asking Connect PNG funding, which is national government, now when I'm brought by provincial government funding, now when I'm brought by districts funding. So that clarification needs to be made very clear so we are fair to all the districts, all the provinces and all the members. So we just put him also because I'm got plenty confusion. Who should access Connect PNG and under what criteria? So we just wish him also long. Look sa email kata.
Member for Governor for Chumbu.
Thank you, Assistant Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to raise my grievances on this floor. Firstly, let me start a background so you can understand where I'm coming from. My province is the second biggest in the islands. It has 6 districts with around 400,000 people. Our economy is dominated by agriculture sector, small-scale coffee, cocoa, and fresh produce. In the capital, we have only 5 supermarkets and 10 trade stores. My internal revenue is around 5 million, a little bit more than 5 million. It is really a disadvantaged province. But I need to realize sustainable development goals and the medium-term development plans set out by both the United Nations and the government of PNG, with the theme, leave no one behind or leave no child behind. My government doesn't want to leave anybody behind. We are a committed government, and I have confidence too in the crop of elected leaders from the 6 districts. We are working together to do what is necessary for the good of the people of Simbu. We are invested in major projects like the SEZ, our hydro, our limestone, our road networks, our human resources, to name a few. It is a hope to be self-sufficient going forward. However, these investments will take time and resources. The different groups of human beings in the province, the Papua New Guineans living in Simbu, needs to move forward now with the rest of Papua New Guineans. That is why we need special intervention by the government. Whilst I thank the national government for the TFF policy, the SHIP grants and the infrastructure grants, I can assure the government it's making wonders. And I assure you, my government is translating every toya into developments. The moral of my grievances is that what is not fair and inequality is some provinces are resource rich. You have oil, gas, gold, copper, timber, oil palm, fish. Some are industrialized, and a lot of economic activities are happening in the provinces. You get tens of millions of kina on top of your SIP, the infrastructure grant. You are okay to start with when it comes to dishing out money for developments. My humble plea, consider the disadvantaged provinces. Allocate 15 million to 20 million or to 30 million, depending on the situation of each province. And in the form of block grants, front load in the form of block grants, so that we can at least have some resources to cater for all the MDTP plan and SDG plans. I want all Papua New Guineans to play rugby league on a level playing field. That's the kind of society our people want. It is also stipulated in our constitution. Mr. Speaker, this is what I want to say for our consumption. Thank you very much.
Honourable Member for Iriquari.
Thank you, Assistant Speaker. Thank you, Lok Sawelo, people of Iriquari, grievance today.
Very basic, but before I do express some views here, I want to take this time to express a heartfelt gratitude and thanks to the Maraparosa government, where the first question this week, I raised a very important question about the issues raised by my constituents in Koyari. And thank you very, very, very much on behalf of my people for responding very swiftly. And thank you very much on behalf of the 400,000 to 500,000 people of Port Moresby. Thank you very much. Me must talk thank you. Publicly na openly lo commitment na swift action lo government lo attend lo this important need lo people of Port Moresby. Thank you. God bless you, Miogata, and thank you for that very important point. In terms of grievances, I want to just add on to the debate expressed by the Minister for Intergovernment Relations in relation to participation lo resource lo yumi. Water and power is a very important resource. It's true, God gave him. And just like gold and copper, oil and gas, that God gave too. So this conversation, please do not belittle my people when they express their views and express it harshly, as other resource owners in this country will do. And they always do. I only excuse that aspect and repent on their behalf if we have offended anybody. But to the point, and more importantly, my good minister has raised a very important question, very important concern. Papua LNG is going to be in the stage of discussions and negotiations. And for some reason, my office, as the district MP of the plant site, I am yet to receive an official letter or notice or advice or a status report to get my people in order. Where do I align as the local MP? How do I align and how do I facilitate for my people? This is exactly the grievance that has been expressed by the minister today. And there are other members in this House who are also affected by this situation. We are going to keep talking and talking until the cows come home. But who is going to act for that? There are certain stakeholders who should not even be entertained, who are getting entertained by the proceeds of these resources, in respect of these resources. Special purpose authorities, for example. Who do they account to? How on earth are they even part of discussions at the table? Why are we creating all sorts of bureaucratic red tape to give ourselves more and more problems? One mandate only carry people blow Papua New Guinea go sit down lo discussion table to cut a pie they have never cooked. Section 93 of the Organic Law, please. If it's too difficult, just put the word district inside and bring it to Parliament and let's pass this law. What is so hard about that? Who is responsible? Why is the bureaucracy holding up on this? I am sure there is political will from the good minister. My name support stubborn mem. I hope our good bureaucrats are listening to me when I'm speaking right now. How are we going to solve this? Simple. Insert district in Section 93 of the Organic Law on Intergovernment Prevention of Local Governments, and it's cured. Then we have legitimate standing to be sitting at the table to discuss. It's not rocket science. But we keep talking as if it's a mammoth of a task. Please, we need to look into this very, very quickly. I'm aggrieved. Number two, aggrievement, let me talk now. On the 11th of October last year, I took the floor and asked the question to the good Minister for Intergovernment, good Minister for Trade, in relation to Connemara Petroleum Park Authority. I was given 3 months that the report would be brought back, or answer would have been brought back. Close to by me started celebrating birthday, blow this like asking blow me. First birthday blow him. But me buy cake to attend. No, God, it's not a laughing matter. But people have been pestering my phone almost 12 months. They want to know answers. How am I going to respond to them? Me carry maybe na mistap here. I want to not buy that cake. It's too expensive. I want an answer for my people. 12 months is too long. I am a... Before me sit down, this will go to waste if people don't act on them. My encouragement is this. You may come talk now, team hotel below you me. Please knock on hotel nothing. I'm also aggrieved. I know the people are listening, but for the sake of our people of Papua New Guinea, this government, he got him 32 plus minister, 12 plus that's all sit down here now, Lord Tete. You know, good plus Tumas. Please give us the respect. Because you may got a government, you may got one team. When we talk, listen to us. Give us the respect of hearing out and taking some notes. I am hoping Section 93, you can introduce an amendment bill, the next parliament will come sit down too on the notice paper. It's simple. Because Papua Island, before it goes to FID, the open member sits down, folds his hand, has no idea what is going on. Same, Wafi Golpu. You know Mitasol? Nipa Kutubu, Iplagati Sutu, Goroka, Morobe, everybody is affected by this situation. Korba le Kopiago. I'm really gossiping the corner here. But it's true. We walk on the streets and our landowners are standing there mobilizing themselves. Hey, member, Namiplawe, how? I said, sorry, I can't help you. I'm not even, don't have legal standing to appreciate you and support you. Mobilization from Mipla Osewane. I'm hopeful, as you have done quite nicely and rightly for Wafi Golpu, in the east of Papua Island mobilization, Kerama, Gulf, and Central Province will be looked at favorably in this budget session coming up. We need mobilization, infrastructure development mobilization to come down, so we can organize our people as well. People are ready. We are very peace-loving people. Make sure. I'm really happy to hear there are more reserve funding in the Gulf, close to 30 TCF. Some announcements will be made shortly. I'm also happy to hear there's some reserves in Vanigala. All of this resource base is in Papua. Know also this much. All roads will lead back to Rome. All roads will lead back to Hiri Koyare in Hiri West, where the plant site sits. So I must hurry up through you, Ms. Making this amendment, the Karim law here. Before I sit down, like I said, I want to take this opportunity to thank the Prime Minister, leader of government business, Law Aste, appointing me as chairman law reform the customary land. I strongly believe economy is a stand up ground, but stand behind it is a grow. And the land we must fix. I will employ every endeavor with my committee to bring a report successfully and bring the necessary amendments in the foreseeable future. Thank you too much. Now God can bless you and me. Now you have a great weekend.
Governor von Morobe.
Mr. Assistant Speaker, thank you for the leave you grant for me to speak on the matter of grievance debate in this Honourable Parliament. Mr. Assistant Speaker, I endorse the comment by the Speaker, Honourable Joe Pamat, in relation to the lack of attention given or lack of consideration given in relation to matters which the members of Parliament bring to this Honourable Parliament. There should be a serious consideration done and serious action taken so that all matters raised in this Parliament by way of grievance debate or question without notice, they must be seriously attended to. Now listen, Mr. Acting Speaker, Assistant Speaker, when we stood in the election, every election in this country, whether in the LLG election or election to the National Parliament, we tell the people that we are the people, elect us so that we will carry your problems to the Parliament. That's what we tell the people. We convince the voters that I'm the fit and proper person. I will represent you in the floor of the Parliament, raise the important issue affecting the lives in the electorate, in whatever issues that may be, whatever problems that may be. We are appropriate person, fit and proper person to represent you. That's what we tell the voters in this country. And based on that statement, based on that commitment, we are, Mr. Assistant Speaker, elected to Parliament. This is where the buck stops, Mr. Acting Assistant Speaker. Beyond that is nothing. This is where the buck stops. The highest forum of this country, where all grievances of all matters of any kind are supposed to be presented. And when we come here, we are fired up. We carry burdens of our people. We are mandated and legally mandated by the Constitution to come to this Parliament, to tell the government in position, incumbent government, and the government instrumentality assisting the incumbent government to implement the policies so that they can implement the policies to satisfy our people in the rural areas. Papua New Guinea is a very difficult country. I don't have to tell you, everyone knows, it's a general knowledge. Difficult country. We are separated by mountains, separated by big rivers, separated by big seas. People want to live in the areas, in that areas their forefathers have lived in the time immemorial until present time. And we've got a task to attend to the people's problem. Mr. Assistant Speaker, when we come here, we are the mandated people to be telling the government, the Prime Minister and his ministers, and all the secretaries of every department to make sure that they attend to our problem. What is happening in this Parliament, I see, is we can talk as much as we want, we can shout as much as we want. At the end of the day, nothing has been attended. What a fool we are made to look. We're made to look a bunch of fools in this country. In effect, we address honorable members. And when the honorable members are talking, they are actually representing the people's interest. And the people who are supposed to be responsible for taking charge of those problems must be implemented, must see to it that they are implemented, they're executed. Mr. Acting Speaker, Mr. Assistant Speaker, Prime Minister, you should understand, you're a good plan. I congratulate you because you've been sitting all throughout the question time and grievance debate. You're one of the Prime Minister that I have closely watched. You sacrificed to sit and listen. Prime Minister, I'm going to commend you. And Speaker, if you're listening to me in your office, take note. You are not in the chambers. You raise this point and I'm giving you the opinion, boasting your comment. You listen. You set up a parliamentary committee to deal with all the matters raised in the grievance debate. You set a committee to look into this parliamentary, the grievances being given. That is recorded in the answer. He is delivered to that committee. And then you set up an administration organ to make sure that all of those problems raised by the members are attended. If they refer to whatever department, they must surely, that institution must refer to the department. or whichever places the members want them to be referred and to get attended. Mr. Assistant Speaker, that must be done. That must be done. It cannot, all of the arguments, all of the problems that are raised by the members of this parliament, remember they are honorable members, cannot collect dust in this parliament, cannot be just heard and no action, or we are given inaction. That's an insult, not just to us. It's not just to us, because we just represent ourselves. We represent our people. Our people. I represent 1 million people in this province, in this parliament. By go 2 million. Mr. Assistant Speaker, but presently you're looking son they stop, put in 1 million. I represent 1 million. And I represent all sorts of problems of 1 million in this country. And all of you electorates represent number of people, you know it very well. And you're not here by yourself. You are here by the mandate of those people who are carrying and suffering those problems. Also, the Honorable Prime Minister, please, me must please straight. No one will talk about Punda Nantin here. I will not come here to give you a grievance debate in the future when I see completely gross inaction on your part and the Speaker's part. Establish a parliamentary committee to deal with all the debates, question times, raising the question times, raising the grievance debate, raising the public matters, important matters in the public important matters as in accordance with the standing order, and all other means in which we present our grievances. They must be attended. This parliamentary committee must attend to it. And there must be an administrative organ established in this office to deal with all of those matters that are raised. Refer to them, they deal with them, they refer to whatever committees, whatever departments that they must be deal with it. And we have satisfied that there is an attempt made to the attendance of all of those problems that we are raising. We must be satisfied. Then we can go and tell our people, you makimia, mi kamlo parliament ya. You've been having too or not. Facebook, you look at me too or not. Question time, you look at me too or not. Me over the Pyra Vistabia, you look at me or not. Suppose Exenino come up and by asking parliamentary committee and department, but look on display. And so talk me go talk so long making sure there's something come up. And Molani will walk in, so you go check him long all. Mr. Acting Speaker. Everyone will be blow. Everyone will be blow. Mr. Assistant Speaker. You elected blue, Mr. Assistant Speaker, you can stop here. Me go finish on the slab here. Me to Ramu, me walk about here. Me implement me walk about here. Now legally me go legally. But that's a problem, this time you look and must stop here there. Stop here there. That is why we talk. Please, Prime Minister, take action. Take action. You, Speaker, you are in me, obviously you stop, take action. Must you come talk me talk nothing by talk by sleep nothing and nobody action. Remember by walk on Bellad stop. Now people walk on Bellad stop. So grievance debate for me. I mean like him sample talk me to talk so me like him support him so talk no member not fly or south fly and talk. Now not fly, huh? Not fly talk. Now speaker me the talk. Now Arbala line talk. This issue must be addressed. Must be addressed. Thank you, Mr. Alvin Speaker.
Honourable members, our grievance debate time was left. The question is that the grievance debate be noted. Those in favour say aye. Those in against say no. I say it. Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Assistant Speaker, thank you, Lord. Sinan Lucia, thank you, Lord leaders. He sent up right through question time, the grievance debate, and making all good points. Me like giving assurance. We have team in Prime Minister's department. They may not be physically here, but because of internet access, or MTV, or NBC relays, they're all sitting there taking notes on every conversation that is uttered. You are given respect in many other avenues. And if the ministers who are not here, I'm sure they've organized for their officials to also take note. And matters of importance that is raised, we also do pick up copies from the handset and to go through them so that what can be replied upon is being replied or processed. So full assurance, just because no one sits at the advisor box doesn't mean no one is listening in. As we speak, all departments listening through TV and internet that is stationed for the uplinks that is taking place in all transactions in Parliament. Appreciating Mogara commentary. Rome was not built in 1 day, 1 month. Things take time, 1,000 years, they developed their countries. We're only 48 years of independence. And, you know, past is past. We need to construct the future together. All recommendations made are considered, and we will be working them and progressing as we go through. With this, Mr. Assistant Speaker, I'd like to ask him indulgence for you. By me adjourning Parliament on Tuesday, 10 o'clock next week.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those in against say no. Ayes have it. Honourable members, I now adjourn the Parliament to next Tuesday, 10 a.m.